the way I thought about it, like basketball wise, or the way I like kind of leveraged it to myself that it makes sense to go to college, because people in Europe, they're like, you can't play as much basketball there. Like there's rules on how much you can practice. Like they bring up all this stuff why it doesn't make sense basketball wise, and the way I kind of talked to myself was that the American mentality on how to play basketball, merging with the way that we learn basketball is can be a really good kind of combination. So that's how I kind of looked at it. That killer mentality, or like that competitiveness that people want to show to on the court. If I can really like embody that and learn that in a college setting, I can't do that in Europe. So that's kind of how I looked at it.
So where do you guys stand on?
Yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? The American way.
Well,
this is a great conversation piece. Like,
I think it's just in any like workout in America, like it's a little bit more outgoing in a competitive setting wise. Like people like when people talk shit, or that one-on-one matchup. Like I'm guarding this guy. Like this guy is not going to score against me. Whereas in Europe, the game is a lot more team oriented. Whereas it's harder to like kind of make out, oh, this guy just scored 30 on you. Like you can't really do that, or you can't really do that as much, and it's just not inherent in the European mentality to look at basketball that way. But obviously the NBA is in America, so I thought it makes sense.
And Canada.
And Canada, so I thought it makes sense to kind of learn that before, hopefully getting there. But yeah, I think it's also another argument. Like people always say, like I would say the European basketball, like the EuroLeague on a level, is way better than college. But it's a completely different style. So learning college can, sometimes even prepare you a little better when you play 30, 35 minutes a game there and get to take a lot of responsibility, opposed to, getting 20 minutes a game and kind of playing off the ball all the time,
Mo, any comments?
Well,
because he seemed to just touch on like
basketball,
the competitive nature of workouts and the one-on-one matchups versus a little bit more team-oriented. I feel like you have a little bit more to say on
well, it goes... No, I mean, what Franz said, it goes along those same lines. What I'm thinking, like we talk about this all the time. In Germany, I think Germany as a national team, for example, is extremely talented. Like when you look at our team, the biggest issue with Germany, and that's kind of the production or the result of what Franz is talking about, is that we don't really have like a star player. Like Dennis Schroeder might be the first since Dirk, where you can say, all right, this guy can take a game in his own hands and is a superstar and has that aura about him. Like, but other than that, they're all super talented players that are role players. And that's kind of the result of what Franz is talking about, where as in America, when you look at those teams, it's all, I'm really good at one-on-one. I'm really good with the ball, but learning how to play off the ball it seems to me more rare than that mentality of, all right, I'm going to go get 30 and then I'm going to get recruited because I have to play varsity. I'm going to go get 30 or 50 points. And so I get recruited by Kansas, Michigan, Kentucky, whatever. And then in Kentucky, I got to kill and I got to produce. And it's me. And I got to go to the league that way. So in Europe, it's different just because, I don't know what Franz said. You play off the ball. It's a team sport. Obviously, it's a team sport here, and I'm not saying the NBA is worse basketball. I'm not even saying that. I'm just talking about the styles and the mentalities, and it goes along those same lines what Franz was talking about, the mentality of I'll talk shit because it is about me, Like, I'm cocky. Like, I think I'm better than you. In Europe, if I talk shit in the national team setting, like, I've been looked at weird, like, what's up with this guy? Like,
well, that's what I was
rightfully so, obviously, but
that's confusing to me because you walked through the door at Michigan talking shit.
Well, I was like, I'm home.
Yeah, this is why he loved it.
I can finally be me.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I belong here, man. People like I came there and there were like 30 managers, and when we practice, we have 2 coaches. That's it, just the players. So like it's all about basketball. I'll be the only one talking shit. And I got to Michigan, their managers. It's such a different energy. I remember my visit, Bakari Alexander was talking shit to me. I'm like, all right, bro, I ain't got nothing to lose. Like, you know, right. I'll talk shit back to you. You don't even know me anyway. Like I felt comfortable. Like this is what I want to do.
So. But this difference obviously starts somewhere, and my guess is that like the youth system and the development system has a huge impact on that. So I know now what youth development looks like in the U.S. and that, you know, AAU is playing 12 games a weekend. You know, everybody has their own individual skills trainer where they're working on all this stuff. What is the difference? What is it looking like for you guys, for example, or maybe now, or maybe there's a difference between then and now, of growing up in Germany, 2 kids who love playing basketball? What does that look like?
Well, like, first of all, like one of the main things that I remember was like the coach was saying like, if you guys are lucky, one guy is gonna play professionally in Germany, and I was like, the like setting that like no matter how good you are, like. When you're 13, he always said, like, nobody cares about that. Nobody even cares if you're good at 17. Like, matters if you're good at 20, like 21, like, and...
well, I mean, I'm pretty sure you were on draft boards at 17, but I think some people cared.
No, but that's, like, the, like, mentality that's where, like, also that humbleness comes from. Right. And then I remember doing drills where we couldn't dribble. Like, you had to get 10 passes, and that was a point, and you play it to 5 points or something like that. Or you only have 1 or 2 dribbles and you play 3-on-3, like stuff like that where
shit's so annoying.
Yeah, if you don't move if you don't move off the ball, you're not gonna score. Like that's just how it is in those drills. Whereas here, like you said, a lot of guys they don't even practice with teammates. They practice more shooting all these step backs when they're 9, 10 years old. Why? Because Steph Curry is doing them in the game and it looks cool and it works for him, but
they see the finished product.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they also see one of the best players to ever do it. That's like, I can watch Michael Jordan clips all day. I'm not going to do that.
Also one of the best off-ball players ever.
It's good. Yeah.
Also,
go ahead.
Also, social media, I think, is a big thing. Like,
love that.
Ball is life mixtapes, like
it glorifies that stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure people grow up and are like, oh man, I want a Ball is life mixtape like John Wall.
I grew up like that.
Yeah,
like, for sure. My game wouldn't reflect that necessarily, but I did want a Ball is life.
Yeah, and that's I mean, I'm sure that's why it's normal that a lot of players like playing more with the ball in the U.S. I think it's.
And again, normal. Before this turns into like the 2 Europeans hate on the American basketball system, because like every time I have this conversation, people come like, so why are you here? Like there's positives and negatives to both, and we're like not judging in that sense. It's more like Franz just said, he went to college because he wanted to kind of merge those two opportunities, like that makes a good player. And it translates to the NBA, honestly. And I said the negative too in Germany, that we don't really have a star that can give you 30, 40 points if he wants to, except for Dennis Schroeder. So like, and he's really good at the American mentality as well. So it both has pros and cons, and it's not the old school European way is the way, because we don't believe that, I wouldn't say. But I think it's interesting too, because it does translate to the NBA as well, like the approach of finding your role and knowing what you're good at, because not everybody is going to dribble 10 times and pull up for 2. Like Bradley Beals of the world, Kevin Durant's, I don't know, whoever, like they are going to shoot those shots, and you got to figure out a way to be effective without doing these things. And in AAU, you might be able to do it, but in the NBA, there are only a handful of guys that get those shots.